A weekend yet proving a sliding doors outcome for some managers. Those going rogue, going straight ahead, and for other managers having devoured into old habits, it's another week of missed opportunity. But what is never a missed opportunity is yet another edition of the FPL Addicts podcast. Gameweek 24, and more importantly, it's a 25th installment for this season. We are absolutely flying. Well, we think we are. As always, I bring the man who's like the engine to the rocket ship when it comes to these pods. The man of spreadsheets, but also he is flying and coming into everyone's minds like a wrecking ball sometimes. It is the one and only Cello. Good evening to you.
Hello, how are you? Yeah, not many game weeks left.
It goes so quick, doesn't it?
I'm looking at my charts on like future game weeks, and it's getting smaller and smaller.
You might say there's not many game weeks yet. There's certainly more game weeks to be crap.
No, I think we've got some good high-scoring game weeks coming up, so we can look forward to it.
Well, yes, we do actually. Before our mini league, we may as well put it in there now. But there's a huge announcement today, wasn't there? Talk us through it.
So the doubles have been confirmed based on the League Cup final. So we've got Chelsea or Everton, and Chelsea and Everton, or Arsenal and Wolves. Who do you think will double? Do you think Arsenal will hold on to that, or are the wheels falling off? You didn't have a good weekend as an Arsenal fan, did you?
Well, we're allowing surfboards into our stadiums and screamers scored by teenagers. If that's anything to go by.
Into a disco stadium.
Yeah, we haven't raised the standards as of recently. We'll put it as that. So here it is, in full motion. Charlo's already mentioned, double game week 26. Back to your question, however, I think we do prevail just because it's at the Emirates. But I think from an FPL sense, if Chelsea get up, that'd be huge because that's Chelsea and Everton. I think there'll be more relevant assets because Arsenal Wolves, it's just one side being relevant.
You don't think Palmer and João Pedro are going to start dancing on the Emirates?
I score the first, then
Palmer goes like this, and then he goes. And then what? There is going to be a long night.
It's going to be a long night of surfboards, isn't there?
I can't wait. That's going to be such a good game.
Yeah. So that is where it's at. So,
I think you will be fine.
Well, let's hope so. So it does kind of go. There's a double game week unlikely for both Man City and Newcastle as things stand. A blank game week permutations, of course, should it be the case. So
yeah, their games will probably go after 31. So they will blank in 31, but they will double later on. We don't have to worry about that yet, I guess.
That's it. Right. Is it time to go over our teams? I reckon it would be. Marcello, how did you find game week 23 in general?
Yeah, it was amazing. I had a good feeling. I had a lot of green teams, green fixtures. I think it was the Saturday went really well. Did we have it? Yeah, Saturday. Oh, this was the leaked game week. I can share my team if you like.
Leak game week, yes. Sellers leaks having been prevailed for both Haaland and Foden, having been benched to your side.
Yeah, so the leak came through, and I had like a little plan. Like if that happens, well, I was captaining Semenyo anyway, and I was like, oh, I'll bench Haaland if he's leaked, but if he's not leaked, then I will not. I'll just leave him in. But then I made a transfer as well. Why did I make a transfer? I did Chalobah in, so I decided to to just bring Chalobah in 1 week early. And I sold Vandenberg because I had to bench Haaland because he wasn't starting. So I didn't want, I'd rather have Haaland than Anderson. But I should have rolled because Anderson got 8 points. But yeah, it started off with Bowen. He got his assist, then he got his goal. I was dancing an Audi by the bread section. So that was. And then Semenyo, it wasn't looking good. Semenyo was having a bit of a stinker, and Marmoush got the goal. But then just before halftime, Semenyo scored, and I was like, well, that's it. My game week's great. Gahey hanged on for the clean sheet, and then Wilson scored another free kick banger. What an absolute baller is Wilson, who I know that you've got as well. So what a great buy he's been, isn't it?
What a goal catalogue he's producing, if anything. Yeah. Well pointed out. Wow.
And then nothing else really happened. Like the Liverpool guys didn't do well against Bournemouth. Ekatike was leaked to start, and then he didn't. So if the leaks actually ruined my game week, because if they gave me the right info or they didn't happen, I might have actually played Anderson instead of Ekatike or Haaland and just rolled. But it's fine. I've got Chalobah for their games. Arsenal, obviously very disappointing, but I cheered every goal. So, like we discussed on another pod, it goes FPL team. And then above that is, first it's Crystal Palace, and then FPL teams above it. And then my hate of Arsenal goes above them all.
This is why you're such a great fit for such a target audience. I love it.
How good was the Twitter timeline this weekend after the Man United one? I mean, you probably were avoiding it, but that was the best I've seen Twitter in weeks.
Yeah, I think, well, in fairness, I actually found the United fans quite funny, not laughing at them, but I like to have a sort of lighter side of it all, especially with the surfboard, Dorgu, United, Carrick, tell them to sign the contract. So good on them. I think once they scored, Zubimendi was a helmet. Once Mbeumo scored, Man United with a better team from that point on.
Yeah, I agree. But even the Arsenal fans were quite funny. They're like talking about, have you seen the one where Arsenal's full of good youths? They're all good youths. Saka, good youth. Someone's still sour, I see, says I mean, Arsenal fans are used to this feeling, and they've been traumatized too many times, and they know what's coming up next. So
Harriet, get the violin music out. Make sure it's a sad song. There's a few of them out there.
Yeah.
Right. That's enough of a comment.
Okay, yeah. Let's move on.
Exceptional. What I will admit is you're just outside the top 5K. That's an extraordinary rank. Yeah,
insane. First time in the top 10K this season. Just a slow and steady climb, and putting my faith in the spreadsheet. Like Bowen getting 12 points. That was like a spreadsheet. I'd never pick Bowen, but good fixtures. He averages a nice score. And it's just incredible. Semenyo in, I kind of believing in Semenyo, especially when I knew that he wasn't playing in Europe for the last 2 games. It's like, well, he's obviously going to play in the league. So I just kind of got him in. But I am kind of struggling with transfers now. I'm kind of not where I want to be. So we'll see if that stays up. But I'm a bit of a pickle. We'll see a bit later on.
Yeah, and if you guys have not followed already, he is one of the nicest fellas, very insightful too. Make sure you follow Marcello on X. And if you don't want to follow Marcello, I guarantee you he's not going to give his real life address. Don't send him an email whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right. Here's my team where the leaks came through, but I forgot to call the plumbers.
Yes.
Jeez. I was praying that Haaland just didn't get off his ass, but he did.
Yeah.
It's devastating. I mean, all I celebrate now is DEFCON.
No, you got Wilson, Semenyo there.
Yeah, Chalobah.
Nice. Mukiele just unreal, man.
Yeah,
he is just shitting out 4-pointers every week at least. He's just insane. I mean, you've got, look at that bench though. Dubravka over Kelleher, And you probably wouldn't have started Cunha and Dorgu over Haaland and Foden anyway, even if you knew they were leaked, because it's Arsenal. So, but yeah, you probably could have done that if you saw the leaks. But then Cunha was on the bench, so you'd have been cheering that, and then he comes off and scores again. Dorgu, you're like, he's done it last week. He can't do it again now, and he's scored an absolute Roberto Carlos worldie, and now he's injured.
Oh, Dorgu, yeah. And will Cunha start? That's another question because he's only played 40 minutes of football in the last 2 league games.
Yeah. Well, I think he's a better player now that Dorgu's out. I think that's good for Cunha.
So
yeah, it's quite funny. Quite a few of my friends on WhatsApp, like from my school, was messaging that he already bought Dorgu, and he was like, they found out they're injured. I think 320,000 managers bought Dorgu, and I was like, bro, why did you buy him? I would have told you that he felt his hamstring, and then I saw Nick from FPL.
Yes.
I was watching that like, oh my god, and he didn't know, and you can see the moment he like looks it up on stream, and he's like, Dorgu, I'm a 10 weeks old. So I think he's the most transferred in defender and the most transferred out defender this week.
Jeez. He's getting the best of both worlds at this rate. Yeah. That's what he is. A bit Dorgu.
And you're on FPL Juice next week. That'll be a good watch. Everyone check it out on Tuesday.
Yes. Well, thank you for raising it. Can I ask, how on earth did you find out of this mail that I was turning up?
He said it at the end of the episode last week.
Oh, he did? Okay, fairs. Yeah.
He was like, can't wait to see Chaza.
Well, I was on there this time last year, and it was quite an entertainment because we had the task of trying to name the top 3 Australian items, and they definitely won because they said neighbours and Steve Irwin and crocodiles.
Thongs,
that's it, yeah. So, right, before we spreadsheet, we need to go to the comments because we've got a few in. The N17, hello, good evening to you. FPL Hippie, good evening. Good evening. I know you got a question, N17. I'll get to you very shortly.
I bet Colm like that Wilson goal as well.
Oh, yes, he would. Has been such a huge help for me, to be honest. This buy and sell window sheet is my favourite thing. It's my favourite thing to look at as well.
Thanks, Harlocksville.
Yeah. Right, question before we go to your favourite segment, it being the spreadsheets. Front 3 of Watkins, Pedro, Haaland, or Thiago instead of Pedro?
Wow, my spreadsheet doesn't actually say Thiago. It says Bowen for the next 5 and until 31. But wait, Thiago Watkins. It actually says João Pedro. Yeah, so Haaland and then Bowen and then João Pedro. But I quite like Watkins because in game week 31, you're kind of going to need that striker to definitely play. And in 31, Aston Villa have West Ham, and that's going to be the blank game week. So you'll really need him to come through there. But yeah, I like João Pedro. Thiago is 4th in the up to 31. Watkins is up there. I mean, it's quite interesting. Like Ekatike, he gets good again after a couple hard games with West Ham and Wolves. Raul Jimenez has a nice 31. I don't mind him, but I think Muniz is coming back. And then you've got Mateta leaving, and if Strand Larsen comes to Palace for 6.1, Palace have got good fixtures coming up as well. But you know, if you need to downgrade a lot, if Palace do get Strand Larsen, that would be nice. So yeah, and then there's Krupi as well. I'm not sure on Krupi. I think Bournemouth have made a few signings this transfer window. Some Brazilian guy, and I think they might impact things there. So yeah, there's a lot of decisions, and it's not really clear. Like João Pedro, do you think he starts all these 4 good games that Chelsea have got next? So much rotation risk there, I feel like.
There is. Well, there's a lot to ponder. But one thing to guarantee every week is your use of colours on a sheet, coordinating with teams. So, Marcello, take it away. Have you got it all standby, ready to go?
Yes. So, here are the fixtures for now. We've got Bournemouth at the top. And everyone's getting Chelsea players in, and this is basically a perfect run for the next 4 for Chelsea. But then they go into Arsenal and it gets really hard. Whereas Bournemouth, they've got a nice 5, and the ones after that are also quite nice until 31 or so. Wolves away this week is always a nice entry point. I think we discussed it last week, but I didn't really realize how good their fixtures were.
There was a lot of talk on Chelsea, more importantly, last week.
Yeah, but Bournemouth, I feel like they've been slept on. I mean, Senesi in defence, DEFCON guy. But actually, there's been a lot of discussion on Twitter I've seen on Hill. I think it's James Hill. I think he's 3.9 defender, and he's getting a lot of DEFCON the past few games once he started. The manager's given a lot of good comments on him. So if you need to fund, somewhere, Hill for Bournemouth could be a very interesting shout, especially if you're on wildcard as a 5th defender. So yeah, I quite like him. And then Evan Nilsson you could go for, Krupi you could go for, but then all their midfielders are injured, so it's hard. It's hard to know how the new players will come in. Like one Brazilian kid, I think he's 19. Is he just going to go straight in? Probably not. So yeah, it's very interesting. And then you've got Brighton, Man U, Palace, and Chelsea. So everyone's got Bruno, it feels like. A lot of people like Mbuemo, Cunha, obviously you've got coming off the bench. He might get more minutes. Maguire, I've seen people talk about, but I think just Bruno and Mbuemo and Cunha for me are the best 3 Man U. Palace, give them 2 more weeks until they get to 26, and then you can start finding some Palace players in. I haven't really seen much Brighton. Some people have picked Mitoma on their team, on their wildcard team. I've seen Van Heck as well. A lot of the Bruggen owners actually on wildcard. But it's not my favourite fixture run. Everton and Forest, they're not the easiest green fixtures. I like this Chelsea run of West Ham, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley. They are the 4 worst teams in the league for me. So yeah, just if you've got any transfers, get Chelsea in, and that they double in 26 if they win as well. But the only thing is the rotation. So yeah, interesting times.
It is. And is there, for example, certain assets which we may be offloading as of now?
So I don't think Tottenham, Sunderland, you've still got Burnley and Fulham, and you can bench people like Mukiele or Dorete. Not too bothered. I've seen some people buy Brobby, and just the cheap enabler. You can play him this week. Tottenham, if you've got Van de Ven, maybe you can sell Romero. He's got another assist in the Champions League. Brentford, Thiago, Brentford have got a hard run for the next 4. Then they play Burnley. You could think about selling Thiago unless you've got loads of money invested in him. If you've got loads of money, then I would say, maybe just bench him or just play him for these hard games. And then, he can come back in 28 because their run does get a lot better. Newcastle now is very hard. People have got, you've got Watermard, I see. Bruno G, I think he was on the bench in Champions League, so he was injured for a game. And he's already coming back, but he's got hard fixtures. You don't know how fit he's going to be. I'd be moving that on to one of these teams at the top here, probably Chelsea midfielder. Chow is in quite a few teams. Big Dan Burn is back. He got an assist in the Champions League as well, but the fixtures aren't quite there yet. Leeds Everton. Everton could double in 26, but even then, the doubles against Chelsea. And these fixtures aren't the best. Fulham's not bad. Brighton, you might score. It feels like a bit of a transition period with AFCON ending. And, you've got Ndai coming back. Dewsbury Hall's coming back from injury. People might have had Ghana. And then the defence, like Keane, it might be in some teams, but then you've got Brantford coming back, and then is he going to take Keane's place? Is Tarkovsky going to still play? Like, you don't really know what's going to happen with their defense, so it's a bit of a transition period for Everton, and you kind of want to see how they line up for now. So hopefully Pickford gets some clean sheets for me there. And then I've got Bowen. I'd keep him until Burnley, and then 26 I could look to move him on. Probably, 26. We'll have Bournemouth attackers, and then where is it? Brentford, they start to get good again from 27, 28. So even looking back at Thiago, around here you've got Burnley, Bournemouth, Wolves, Leeds. That looks nice for Thiago here. So,
wow, funny to think about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is what I love, Marcello, and I always appreciate the effort that you put in. It's become an integral part of this pod every week now, like a spreadsheet check, or it's like an accountability for ourselves, for us fantasy managers, in terms of where we direct our moves. So, as always, thanking you just for what you bring in general. Alongside, the same could also be said for the public league here, where Kieran Scully still leads by 35 points, albeit only having scored 26. Budgie Talk Sports back into the top three with a nice 61-point week there. And plenty of movement with inside roughly the top 10 in general. Okay. Now, we've talked about the league and what's occurring domestically. Now let's talk about Europe, because there were some big triumphs and some really good results, in fairness. However, 4 of the possible 8 sides are from England who have automatically qualified for the knockout phase as a result of the new format having started last season. It being Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City, and Liverpool actually finding their form alongside
Tottenham.
And Tottenham. My God, I can't believe it.
English teams are so good.
Yeah, it's just mental, isn't it? So Arsenal won 3-2 against Carrick, in which was a bit of a nothing game. Spurs won away at Frankfurt 2-0. Liverpool with a 6-0 win. Man City with a 2-0. Chelsea came from behind to beat Napoli 3-2 away from home. And for Newcastle, they have to go through the playoffs phase as a result of having been held to a 1-1 draw against Paris Saint-Germain. I want to ask you your opinion on this, Marcello. How pleasing is this to see so many English sides through to the next phase, and just seeing how strong our sides are from our league when you compare it to the rest of Europe?
Yeah, it's surprising. Like, Napoli, champions of Italy. Chelsea scored one, penalty, and then they came back. Yeah, like Banjo says, UK teams rule Europe. They do. Arsenal won 8 out of 8. And I know you just lost to Man U, so you're a bit sad, but you got to be proud of that. Like, that is some feat to be 8 out of 8. Arsenal, like the whole of Europe, are like, gosh, Arsenal are a team to be feared. And yeah, good for you guys. And you've got the squad to do it, the rotation. It's nice to see, actually. Like, usually you've been quite good in previous years, but then you'd have an injury and then you'd have no one good to come in, whereas now the depth in the squad is really good for Arsenal. And how are Tottenham up there?
I don't get it. I feel bad saying a phrase there before I said it wasn't deliberate or staged, I promise. It's just I'm not used to saying Tottenham, saying a big club on this occasion.
You forgot.
It's just Thomas the Frank engine just turned off a while ago, and they're just derailing off. And mate, they're just going express service and not stopping at all stations.
I like Hippie's comment there. English teams are so good because they barely have any English players in them. That was actually my rule at the start of the season. I was like, in FPL, because I kind of like know English players more from like playing for England, especially last year, I was like, let me try and not pick the English players because I've probably got some bias there. And anyone else is probably, any South American ones or, some European players who are in these English teams and doing well. they're probably going to be absolute ballers to be like coming to England and absolutely killing it. Like, yeah. Do you ever think of that? Do you think what country they're from? Do you avoid English players at all? Not that England are bad, because England are like one of the best countries in the world, and we might win the World Cup this year. But
it's a very good question you ask. The only reason why I'd be fascinated by the nationalities of players is, so on FIFA, yeah, where you need to hire your new scouts to find who the next Alex Hunter talent is. That's where I pay the most attention on the nationalities of certain players. But yes, Discomfort, good evening to you. Thank you for tuning in. Dominate UCL due to squad depth. European dominate latter stages due to resting entire squads. This is a really good point, to be honest, because Liverpool finished top after the 8 games, and then they got knocked out the next round against Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, we've got a bit to figure out. And speaking of rotation, well, we've got our next lot of fixtures this weekend. And more importantly, for those who love to party on a Friday, you can sleep in and realise that you probably haven't missed a deadline, unless you're proper ludicrous and sleep past 1:30, because that is the deadline time, with 3 o'clock kickoffs and it being a triple header, and Super Sunday back with 3 games, an all-important clash in North London, and a Monday night game where we would genuinely question life choices in general if it wasn't for this game. But more importantly, to you, great man, what is the game you're either most looking forward to, or from an FPL perspective, the most relevant?
Well, it depends on my moves, but if I roll, I've got Wirtz and Ekatike, and they're at home to Newcastle, which could be a goal fest, I'm hoping. That's the dream. It's usually a good game, isn't it? Like, League Cup final and stuff. And yeah, I think that's the one I'm looking forward to. And I feel like I'm kind of being forced to roll because I've been a bit greedy with my transfers previously. It's funny, I can either roll or I can take a hit to get them both out. How do you see that game going?
The Liverpool-Newcastle game. Liverpool
just played at home in Europe. And, they had an easy game against Qarabağ, 6-0 win. But you feel like that would give them some confidence going into this, right?
Yeah, Cello finally scored too. Do you remember him?
Yeah, what a free kick. It's funny because Salah set up Szoboszlai for the free kick the other week, and then they reversed the roles this week, and Salah got one with the same routine from the other side. But yeah, Wirtz goal, Ekatike assist, Ekatike goal, even Chaza scored. Obviously, it's an easy team. Newcastle are not going to lose 6-0, but it just gets good to get some positivity. Ekatike's dyed his hair blonde, so he means business. I might just captain him, and then if he hauls, I'll dye my hair blonde in celebration.
I'll take it. No smashing choice. I'm going to go for the game I'm just looking forward to in general, Manchester United against Fulham, because Fulham have only lost once since early December when they lost to the other Manchester club 5-4. The Man United under Michael Carrick are looking pretty good, beating the top 2 sides in the competition. A lot from an FPL per se, because majority of us like-minded would have one or even more of their midfielders. So I'm going to go with that. And quick note on Monday night, your game week is officially done on the Sunday unless you own a Sunderland defender heavily relying on DEFCON.
Which you probably will. I'm sure you'll start in Mukiele.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that's quite annoying when you don't have a player on that last day.
Leeds Arsenal, great shout. Combat is going to be a big game. Yeah, not keen.
Leeds who? Arsenal. Arsenal's downfall could be happening now, You can see them not winning that. Heads gone going into the Chelsea game, and then they lose in the League Cup. Oh my god. At least they won 8 out of 8 in Champions League. No, they'll be fine. They'll beat Leeds. Saka will finally score, surely.
The beginning of the end, it could well be. Who knows? So, well, that's our fixtures. Tasty options, if anything. But more importantly, does it reflect on what the transfer traffic is saying? And this is how we look. Any particular surprises?
Oh, it's a shame you can't filter for defenders and say Dorgu most bought defender and Dorgu most sold defender. But yeah, Bruno. Yeah, Bruno. I'm struggling to get Bruno in my team, and I might be going against him, and it might be my downfall this year. Or Fulham do an amazing job. You know, Colm will be celebrating, and Harry Wilson scores in a 1-0 win with Anderson getting DEFCON. It's at Old Trafford, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
it is,
Yeah, no, Bruno's unreal. Get him in your team. I'm scared. João Pedro as well is interesting. I'm surprised he's so high in my spreadsheet model calculations because, yeah, let's see this. Dorgu most transferred out. How many? 153,000.
153,000 and the most transferred in defender.
I assume that's the same managers going in and out, right?
I reckon one of them would be Nick from FPL Juice.
We shouldn't laugh.
We shouldn't, but we will. Big time, my God.
Yeah, Chalova, I think he's due a price rise to I like. Gabriel, I've got Gahey, I've got Mukiele. Yeah, I wish I had Mukiele instead of Anderson, man.
It's 4-5.
The fixtures, like we saw, are a bit ending now. Timber, is Timber actually going to be? Has he actually got a knock, or is Arteta? What's his name? Arteta just talking rubbish to give him a rest?
I reckon the second option, to be fair with you. So
I hope so. I'll be very sad if he's not. Or if he's not, then hopefully he's not in the squad.
To compliment what you're saying, I would agree pretty much with everything you've said. Dorgu being a surprise, Bruno, not surprisingly, being the ringleader.
PK, one of the most sold. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think I take a hit? Well, we'll go for it later, actually.
Do we always find in these transfer traffics, whenever we have these different episodes, that the third most transferred out player always is the one that would hurt managers for some reason? I always find it in that slot.
Okay, good. I'll keep him.
There you go. Decision made.
Surprised people are actually selling Thiago, but yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense. I know quite a few people are thinking of wildcarding, but I don't think that many people actually are wildcarding.
Do you believe it's a right time to wildcard at the moment or not?
I think if your team's a complete mess and you're going to be like, you're literally planning out, okay, this is what my team will look like in 31. Then I'm going to do this in 32. Then I'm going to, free hit 34. I'm going to accept that my 32 doubles aren't going to be as strong. I'm going to accept that some other team, like, it can work, like, definitely. But if you're just like, I'm just going to wildcard now because my team's, not great. You could get rid of Wirtz, Ekatike, and then they score. And then it's going to hurt. Like, you don't need to, but it depends on the team. But it's a really, really big fixture swing. And, 24 from 26 as well to like 31, there's going to be a lot of points to pick up. Like, there's going to be a lot of points. I think if I show you my fixture swings here.
Let's have a look at the swings.
Yeah, so if you just look at these columns here, these two columns. So these are the average scores so far this season, and these are the FDR scores. So where there's a green here, that means that the better teams have easier games. So like your Man City, Liverpool's, Arsenal, Chelsea, they have easier games. And that kind of relates to higher average scores. Obviously not every time. But, where it's red, you probably see red here. Where it's green, you see more greens here. That's not a coincidence here. This one here directly. Here it's not as much, but yeah. Here you can see from 26 to 31, these are huge greens. So what does that mean? That means that the strong teams have good, easy games here. And what I predict is that will lead to a big average score here. So if your team is bad by game week 26, you're going to get left behind by these players who have optimal teams, and they're going to properly outscore you. You know, if your team is bad for this run from 20 to 25, okay, no one wants to like drop points, but you're not going to lose that many points against the average. Whereas if your team is a mess for 26 to 31, you're going to fall really hard, I think. So it is important to get your team in shape, get those best players from the best teams. You know, your Man Cities, your Arsenals, everyone's tripled up. Your Chelseas, everyone's tripling up. You know, the top 5-6 teams last year, your Villas, they're going to start being good here as well. All those top teams have easy games. There's going to be a lot of points on the table. Don't miss out. And then afterwards, when a lot of people are wildcarding in 32, the thing about wildcard 32 is the good teams do not have easy games then, but you're going to want them for the doubles. So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, initially when I looked at this, it didn't make much sense, but now it definitely does. And that game week 26 phase really stands out all of a sudden.
It really does. And if we look at what that is, like 26, who's at the top? Well, you've got Man City, got 5 nice games. You've got Liverpool, you know, Palace, Villa, Arsenal, Man U. These are all the good teams. Whereas here, you've got the bad teams at the bottom, you know, West Ham, Tottenham, Everton, Sunderland, Wolves, Forest, Brentford. You wouldn't really want most of these players anyway. So these good teams against these weak teams, what does that tell you? That tells you goals, goals, goals. They're going to be fresh. There's going to be 5-0. There's going to be 6-0. The average score is not going to be low. But then if we look at game week 32, you know, who have we got at the top? You've got immediately Wolves are at the top. No one's really going to want to wildcard into Wolves, but they've got the best fixtures. You've got Brentford. Okay, they're not too bad because they've got Thiago. Villa, they're bad, not bad. Tottenham, you know, they're not reliable. You don't really want them. Sunderland, Arsenal's still kind of up there. Brighton, who's at the bottom? You've got your Newcastles, you've got your Chelseas, you've got your Cities towards the bottom with these red fixtures playing each other. So this kind of like, this plays into the hands of wildcard 24s because you get the good fixtures now, you load up on points now, these 5-0, 6-0 games, they can really climb now. So you want to make sure your team's good. And then when everyone wildcards in, you know, Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle assets because they've made it to the FA Cup semi-final, and they double in 33 and blank in 34, you're going to have crappy games for these teams for the rest of the season because they've just had their good games. So that you might not be as beneficial to go into these teams, even though they double. But the people who have already wildcarded, they're not going to miss out as much. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot to ponder because we've still got all 4 chips to be played as well. But
yeah, so this is something that the nature of the fixtures is good for wildcard 24 managers. And I kind of did a Twitter thread on that, but hopefully seeing it like this and explain it like this makes sense. Because look, if Newcastle, Chelsea, Man City make it to the FA Cup semis, you're going to want them to double. But then they're doubling against each other. Man City play Arsenal, Chelsea play Man U, and Newcastle play Bournemouth. And, you know, you've got Arsenal. These are the double game weeks, 33 and 34. They're not good doubles. So it is going to be a very interesting end to the season. So if your team is completely bad now, game week 24 wildcard is not a terrible idea, in my opinion.
Thank you. Wows. You've put a few frames of perspectives in my mind already. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, because of that, shall we look at our sides for game week 24 and see if you actually played the wildcard or not?
Yes.
It might be time. I've got to get organised as well. But as always, guys, get in your suggestions, your dilemmas. Can you imagine Marcello being a school teacher for wherever you had your education, because he would be a phenomenon in that industry. Just the way he explains double game weeks, coloured spreadsheets. It's what school students would thrive in. But hey,
I have a passion for it, yeah.
To your team we go, Bosh.
Yeah, so this is just rolling. I kind of hope Timber's out because Leeds will probably score, and then I can just put Bowen in. Bowen plays Chalobah, which is annoying. Triple City is fine. Captain's on Haaland. You know, he did one of his nice goals where he ran behind and chipped the keeper in the Champions League. So he's got his shooting boots back on. He's had his rest. Semenyo had his rest. Gay, had his rest. I'm happy about triple Man City. You know, even though Leeds away, Leeds are massive. You know, you hope Arsenal get the job done. They probably will score, but they might not. And, you know, hopefully Rice carries on whipping them balls in. Wilson is fine. His run up until 31 is nice. And I really like that he's got a nice 31 fixture against Burnley. 31 has been confirmed the blank game week. So he will definitely be playing for me in 31. He's not going anywhere. Chalobah, he's got really nice fixtures up. I like that he was rested in the Champions League this week. But he came on because Fofana was getting spun for their goals, and then he shored everything up. So he did travel, but he did get like half a game's rest. But that kind of says to me that Rosenior has man-aged his minutes, and he will probably start against West Ham at least. So that leaves me with Bowen, who I want to keep for Burnley at least. So we'll keep him 2 more weeks. I could bench him against Chelsea. Do you see Bowen scoring against Chelsea?
I'd say there's a possibility.
I think there's a possibility. West Ham have just, sold Paqueta. And I don't know if you follow FPL Fella on Twitter. He was like not a big fan of Paqueta. He was like, this guy's bringing our team down. They get rid of him in the team, and they've started winning games. Okay, it's been easier fixtures, but I think Paqueta was a problem in that team, and maybe Bowen can start, scoring again. Somerville's look good. M. Fernandez has looked good. So it is Chelsea though, but they have just gone to Napoli. I get tired when I go to see my family in Napoli, so I'm sure the Chelsea players are tired as well. And then you've got these two, Wirtz and Ekatike. And in my spreadsheet, their predicted points are so bad. Like, Newcastle's not an easy game. Man City next is not an easy game. Sunderland away is not an easy game. And then Forest as well. But then it gets good from 28. West Ham and Wolves. Tottenham, Brighton, Fulham. Do I want to keep them for these 4 games? Or do I move them on to players with better fixtures? Who are those players with better fixtures? Well, I could just do one move. I've only got one transfer. Wirtz straight to Enzo. He can go in. Or I can get Bruno in, but I'd have to take a hit and get rid of Ekatike. I could go João Pedro or Evan Nils. We saw Bournemouth's fixtures were good. I think those are the only 2 I'd go to. Or Thiago. So I could do this. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I advise against a second option, trying to bring... It's not the fact of bringing Bruno in, because I think that's an excellent idea. It's just more taking a hit to take Ekatike out. He could easily outscore that -4.
Yeah, especially, Newcastle, Liverpool have been at home.
Good fixture.
Did Newcastle travel away in the Champions League?
They went to Paris.
They went to Paris, so it's far for them from Newcastle, and now they're going back to Liverpool. So, Bruno G is out as well. I don't know if he's going to start. He might play with an injury. Dan Burn has come back, though, which kind of helps them. I just feel like next week we will know which teams are doubling, if it's Chelsea and Everton or if it's Arsenal and Wolves. I'm set up for Arsenal Wolves because I've got these 3. I might want Enzo instead of Bruno. João Pedro might get benched because he's doing unreal. I don't know if I watched that game. He was unbelievable. He's done well against Palace. He's done well against Brentford. He's got goals against Napoli. João Pedro is in incredible form, but is he just going to get rotated? Rosenior did say, yeah, I'm going to rotate my team. I think Palmer's back to full fitness. That kind of hurts Enzo as well. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like Enzo in is just a better move, but then Wirtz is unreal as well, and they're at home, and they've just been at home. So a lot is telling me to just roll, but I don't know what I'm going to do. It's one of those two. Either roll Wirtz to Enzo or Bruno and João Pedro in. And I think I'm leaning towards roll at the minute.
Fairs. I like it. Well, I think I've always liked it, and it's really reflected on your rank too, being inside 4 digits. So,
yeah,
inside the top 5K. That's what I'm hoping for you.
But no Bruno and no Enzo. It just feels like those two could go crazy on me, and everyone's going to have them. And, Wirtz and Ekitike might lose or draw 0-0. Yeah, that's what he said. Exactly. I don't have 11 great players. I have 22 players, so I rotate because they all deserve to play. So, what does that mean? Does that mean João Pedro doesn't play? Surely that means the lap comes in. Enzo could probably start, but then do you see Enzo getting dropped? I don't know. Chalobah could even get rotated. They've got Arsenal in the cup. If it helps, I have Enzo and Bruno. Everyone has Enzo and Bruno. That's the thing. So I can't get them both in, though. That's the thing. So I have to choose one or the other. Bruno has to be for a hit. If I could just do, Wirtz and Semenyo to Enzo and Bruno, I'd do that. But I'm 0.2 out. I should have done it earlier. And I don't really want to sell Semenyo because his fixtures are incredible and he's playing incredible. But even he might get rotated. But you made me get them. Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to do. But I can't. I'm not taking -8 to get them in. I don't have enough money in my midfield. I shouldn't have brought Chalobah in. But then you don't have any Chelsea at all for these 4 best fixtures of the season. It's so hard with this rotation. It's good that Chelsea don't have their playoffs in Europe now. Because there might be less rotation. If they had even more games in the Europe, then, all those Chelsea players would be even worse for these 4 games. But the fact that they did somehow come back and beat Napoli, it's frustrating. Give me some more breathing space. Do what? What should I do? Tell me what I should do for Juice League, and then I will do the opposite because I know you're trying to sabotage me. Colm doesn't have either. We're going to be crying, Colm. Bruno and Enzo are going to destroy us. -8 or -20. Okay, thanks, bro. So let's see. -8. We're going to do Wirtz out, Weaver out, Ekitike out. We go. I should probably do it. Should I just do the -8? I've never taken a hit like this season. It leaves me 5.6, which is enough for Kroopy, and that is my perfect team. So and Kroopy's got Wolves as well. And now I'll bench boost this team. That's the perfect team. I'm a -8 away from a perfect team.
Do it.
That's a wildcard team, I think. Without Rodgers. But then, who do I bench? I can't even bench anyone there. So
it's called bench boost, and we don't have to worry about that.
No, I'm not doing that. So yeah, we're just gonna roll.
All right, there you go, Fez. Wow, thank you as always. Informative insight. Now, look at this.
That's good. You're playing 4 at the back this week. That's what I like to see.
Well, I think so. The mindset heading into this is that I saw all the defensive players' fixtures and thought these are all doable on field. So let's put out 4 Haaland can stay up top, regardless of whether he's on the armband or not, and work out the rest from there. As a result of the forwards having tricky away fixtures, they're currently on the bench. Voltemar makes sense. Look, Thiago less so, but Wilson I would want on field at the minute. And Foden is one of those, I don't want to bench him for having held 9 million in my team. So because of that, I'd rather get rid of him.
Yeah, you got 2 free transfers.
I do have 2 free transfers. So are you ready for some more live transfers?
Oh my God. Is it Foden and Dorgu?
No, Dorgo's going to stay as a result of all the defence having really nice fixtures. So I am... You know who I'm thinking? I'm thinking Morgan Rogers.
What? What about Enzo or Bruno?
Well, I can't get to Bruno. That's the thing.
You can if you get rid of Watermod.
What, for João Pedro?
No, he's going to be benched, isn't he? How much is João Pedro anyway?
Chat, come on, please. Discomfort, come on, chat.
Wait, go back to your team. Well, just go Enzo.
Can I trust this fella now?
No, that's the thing. I think out of everyone, if anyone was going to play every Chelsea game, it would be Enzo, right? Because who does what he does?
Okay, so the last time I went to a player that had a run of West Ham, Wolves, or plus 2 extra promoted sides, I'll tell you who that was. Patrick Dorgu, who did nothing. And then when he faces the tough sides, I bench him, they score.
Yeah, it's annoying. You'll bench Enzo for Arsenal, and that's when you'll score.
Yeah, it's just going to happen. So,
are you tempted by Palmer? Would you go Palmer? I think Palmer's an option now. I think seeing him play half an hour.
I don't think so. But
5.9, no, I wouldn't do that.
As always, let's give it a whirl.
You can't even go to Strand Larson, Crystal Palace's saviour.
Yeah, I'm just not interested in Cole Palmer at the minute. So, vote.
And that's the thing with Palmer. Like, people have been asked about Palmer. Yes, he might be good, but he's so expensive, and he is gonna, that value is gonna be making someone in your team go down.
Yeah, I think so. With
I like that 4-5-1.
Yeah, I quite like a 4-5-1 with Voltemar.
Yeah.
I mean, who I want to bring in, I'd want to put them straight on field, but I quite like the team big at the back this week, and the midfield's actually fine for what it is. So
could go Bruno and Hill. Oh, that would be nice. Get Dorgu out. How much is Hill? Double Bournemouth defend. I think Hill's going to take all of Senesi's Defcon. Go on, just go to Hill, see if you can afford it, and look at Hill's stats since he's played.
So we're doing Hill.
Don't do it. Just look at Hill. See if you can afford it first.
Mate, it's like looking at the next time.
Bruno for Foden.
All right. So what are we doing? Bruno for Foden, right?
Yeah. And remember, Bruno outscored Saka while that time he was injured. There's Hill. Look at his stats. You can do that. Okay, so last match, 6. Did he not get Defcon? Goals conceded. He got an assist. What? Is he a centre back?
It must be.
3, 90, 90, 90, 90. 3, 3, 3, 2. Scroll down.
No. He's only started the last 5, and that's it.
Okay, and then what's his Defcon? Where's the Defcon column? He hasn't hit Defcon, or he has. He must have done. Defcon 11, 9, 11, 18, 13. He's the Senesi replacement. Look at those fixtures. Go on fixtures.
Yeah, I'll go to Senesi just for a laugh. But yes, it's some incredible fixtures.
Yeah, let's have a look. 3, 3. All the way down to 30, you've got Burnley. Oof, that is nice. I'd think about it. I don't think you need to do it tonight, but I would think about that. I don't know if Hill's going to stay in the team or, he might get dropped next week. So do your own research. But from what I've heard from, research of Twitter, he's the guy. How many Defcons for Senesi since Hill has started those 5 games? Because you've got Senesi.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. It looks like he has.
Looks like he has, yeah. Where's Defcon? 30,
13.
13, 16, 7. So they're both getting Defcon. That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's not too bad. I'm not sure, especially if I bought Hill in this week. I'm just not sure about 5 at the back, and then it means I'd have to bench.
Yeah, you just bench one of them. Well,
No, I don't want to do that away at Wolves. I think it's too good of a fixture. You really want to field Bournemouth defenders, to be honest. So
yeah. Well, it's just to afford the Bruno move and sort Dorgu out. That's why it works in a few ways for your team. But then you don't have Chelsea attackers, so Enzo.
Well, yeah. See, this is a thing. Like Chelsea's attackers, like the Foden, Enzo, as you just mentioned, like that's a really good shout. It make the team look good, to be fair. Or now, why isn't anyone talking about Morgan Rogers all of a sudden?
Yeah, I think he's got a couple hard games, but then they get really good, and I will want him for 31 because 31 he's got a really nice game in the blank against West Ham. Are they playing now? Are they guaranteed to not be in the playoffs? Brentford, Bournemouth away, and Brighton at home. They're not the worst fixtures. Rogers is a great shot. I love Rogers, and his ownership is high.
I think he can score against anyone.
I think he's an absolute baller, apart from Pickford. But yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Oh, can I show you one more spreadsheet? This will help you.
Okay.
And so this is can you see it? I don't think so. Where is it? Must be this one.
Foden to Bruno, Isaac, Mags, just checking your comment. Voldemar to Robbie. Interesting shout. Yeah,
Robbie's interesting as well. I just think because you've got an injury with Dorgu, you're probably going to want to sort him.
Yeah, but I think it's just more. Look, it means I might have to bench a defender.
So which is fine, in case someone doesn't start.
I'm confident enough to field Michele this week alongside Charles, Messi, and then Gabriel. Like as your 4 done.
Yeah.
All right, one more sheet before we go to the captaincy. So here you are.
Yeah, so this is by ownership. So this is the most owned players. And I've put here which ones I own in X, in orange, and which ones I don't own. They are in green. So if we just look at the most owned, say forwards. So Haaland's the 72% ownership. And then you've got Thiago, João Pedro, who I kind of want. And there's the predicted scores for the next week. I've got Etikika, I've got Bowen. They're a bit of a punt, yeah. So, you can think about Thiago and João Pedro to cover that high ownership. João Pedro's ownership is high, man. Then you've got midfielders. I've got Semenyo, Rice, Rogers. This is why I thought of this sheet. Rogers' ownership is high, man. It's 31%. People aren't bringing them in and talking about him because they've probably already got him, a lot of people. The fixtures are okay. But then from 26, Brighton at home is a great game. Leeds, Wolves, Chelsea, Man U, and then West Ham. If you're wildcarding in 32, or even if you're not, you could wildcard in 34. You keep him. You keep him till here, till 36, to be honest. He's not leaving your team until the last 2 weeks. So Rogers is high ownership. The predicted points are kind of high at 24. He's not the highest point scorer in the league. His average is only 4.63. But yeah, he's up there. Wilson, he's very high ownership, and he's still got some nice fixtures up till 31. Bruno now, the fixtures are so nice, but then the thing with Bruno, after these 3 games, you've got Everton away is hard. Crystal Palace at home is quite hard if Palace, learn to not concede. Newcastle away is hard. Villa at home is quite hard. Bournemouth away, as you've seen, is quite hard, but he can get goals there. And then, you're wildcard in here anyway. So it's only these 3 weeks that I'm really terrified of Bruno if I don't go there. So that's why I'm thinking, do I even need to go there? One, when I'm going to take a hit, so it's -4 anyway. you know, his ownership is slowly getting higher and higher. But it's only these 3 weeks, and then here he could even be blanking in all these weeks. And then if his ownership is high, people are not going to sell him here. They're going to hold him through here. I could make some gains here. And yeah, Foden quite high, Bruno G, Saka, Enzo, his ownership's quite low, but you've got 4 really good games, but then it gets really bad. And you know, if I don't bring Enzo in this week, well then he's only got 3 good games. And then he's only got 2, and then I'm looking to sell him already. So yeah, Enzo, I kind of want to bring him in this week, but then I have to sell Wirtz, who gets good again after Enzo comes bad. So I should have Enzo now and then move to Wirtz later. So yeah, and then the defenders. Who's the most owned defender? Do you want to guess?
Most owned defender, Gabriel.
Yeah. Oh, is it Gahey? Oh, I don't know if that's changed, but it's very tight. This was from the start of the week. Gabriel might be on top now. Yeah, that's quite surprising. I thought it was Gabriel. Gabriel is now 37.8. So he's gone up. And Gahey is now 37.5. So yeah, he stayed the same. And Gabriel's gone up by 0.4. So yeah, Gabriel, you know, he's fine. Timber, Gahey. Van de Ven is still up there from all the casuals. Virgil's been quite high. Virgil, did he get like 2 assists last night and a goal or something?
Well, he scored on Saturday too.
Oh my god, he's finally rewarding his owners. Chalobah's getting up there, Cucurella. Then you've got your Senesi for that nice Bournemouth run. Then you've got Tarkovsky coverage. Mukiele is right up there. And then the rest, I'm not really sure. The rest are all punts. I think these are your defenders to choose from in FPL. I've got Anderson, who's awful. Lacroix is good, but his ownership is low. Munoz, are you tempted by Munoz anytime soon? You know, from here, 26. Burnley, Wolves, Man U, Tottenham, Leeds.
No, not enter my thoughts at the minute.
Okay, I mean, if he scores in one of these 2 games, everyone's going to be buying him for Burnley, I think.
Yeah, Palace have just been awful.
Yeah, hopefully we turn it around, but we'll see. That might be the Palace fan in me. So yeah, I think it's important to look at the highly owned players and then goalkeepers. There they are as well, just to complete it.
Well, keeping us on the keeper spectrum, which is just as important. Thank you as always. That was a really good spreadsheet to think about on the improvise. But now we've got to go on the other end of the pitch, and that is where the most points could be scored, and that is strikers and midfielders. But based on the kings of the game week trend, it's not been the case all year. Nonetheless, it's another edition of the Captain's Corner. Erling Haaland away at Spurs, who isn't the most favoured at the minute, but he has scored City's last 3 goals scored at the venue in the league, including the ones from the 2 more recent seasons. In terms of Spurs, they've only won 9 points in their home games this season. Only Wolves have managed to secure less than them. City 6 goals since game week 18, 14 big chances, which has ranked them 12th. 6 goals, as mentioned, scored. That's ranked them 15th. And 18th equal for goal conversion, which is 7%. Arslan Semenyo, his other teammate, scored a winner against Sunday's opponents less than a month ago, this time as a cherry. He's also rested from the midweek Champions League, as Marcello mentioned. However, from his last 5 home games, he's managed to secure 4 goals and 3 assists, dating back to his Burnley match from the 20th of December across all competitions. Bruno Fernandes at home to Fulham. He's had 6 double-figure hauls all season, which is twice more than any other teammate. Speaking of our teammates, one that can lovely ride a surfboard if he really wants to. He has managed to conquer 13 points from just 40 minutes played on field in the last 2 game weeks. That being Mateus Cunha, Brian and Boomo against the top sides. 19 points collected against the top 2 in Arsenal and Manchester City. Gabriel goes away to Ellen Road. Not in fairness, as mentioned earlier this episode of Arsenal's triumph in the League Cup second semi-final, he could have a double game week. 26 have been Brentford and Wolves. Better shot for him if you don't have. He's only blanked once so far away from home as a starter himself, considering he was injured for a while. And that came against away to another newly promoted side, it being Sunderland. The last time Leeds got a point from Arsenal in their head-to-head match was November 2020, where it finished as a 0-0 scoreline at Ellen Road. And you wouldn't believe it, on that day, Gabriel was a starter for Arsenal, also on a loan deal. Evan Nilsson away at Wolves, 3 assists in what was a 4-2 away win in the corresponding fixture in November 2024. Now, it all came from him having fallen inside the penalty box. In addition, the cherry up front, he's returned in 3 of his last 4 league matches. So, in this instance, variety could well be the spice of life. And another random stat too about Aston Villa. They've managed to score 13 goals from outside the box this season, which is the most of any side in the league. So let's bring everything back in the studio. Cello, what are we thinking after all of that?
Yeah, some good shouts there. I think target the green fixtures. You've got Man U v Fulham, Chelsea v West Ham, or Haaland for me. So yeah, Bruno and Mbeumo are actually above Haaland in my spreadsheet for this week. But I think, whoever starts out of Enzo, João Pedro, or even if you've got Palmer and, you've spent all that money on Palmer, you might as well have 2 of them in your team and captain him if he starts. If he doesn't start, then, I don't know. João Pedro might not even start. Enzo... If Palmer's on, you wouldn't really want Enzo because he's not on pens. So I like Bruno, to be honest. If I had Bruno, it'd be Bruno. He's just unreal. Or Haaland. I'm going to do Haaland. Or Semenyo today. There's a lot of options. It's hard now.
Yeah, it does really make it hard. And just to recap, there's the captaincy options on our ticker. I mean, plenty to think of it.
Oh, that's nice. Cunha as well. Yeah, Cunha might start. He's an unreal. It seems like all the good players are coming into good form now. Evan Nilsson's got Wolves. Oh, I didn't even realise that.
Well, we've spoken about Krupu for half the episode, so yeah, and Hill and Senesi.
Yeah.
Wow. But
Tavernier would have been a good shout, but he's injured. Senesi, you could captain Senesi.
Oh, I don't want to go there.
Someone will bring in Hill and captain Hill this week, and he'll score a header and get a 17-pointer.
And if you do, mention at FPL Addicts Pod on X, because I want to hear all about it, and I promise you, get a shout out on next week's installment. But nonetheless, Marcello, what a chat. Jeez, we went through a bit there, didn't we?
Yeah, it's good. It's an important week, I think. I think a lot of seasons will be made and broken this week.
Yeah. Last question before we bow out. Lewis Potter to Richards, yes or no?
I think it's a bit early for Palace. Richards scored a header against Chelsea, annoyingly, because I had Chalobah. I did not celebrate that Crystal Palace goal, even though I'm a fan. But I would wait a couple weeks on Palace, see how we do next 2, and then you can go there. I quite like Konza, to be honest, at that price range, especially for 31. And, like we saw the rest of the season. Yeah, Lewis Potter, that's a nice run. I wish I had him instead of Vandenberg, who I sold last week. But yeah, Richards is fine. Defcons will be there, I'm sure, so 4 points at least. 3 points maybe if we concede 3 goals.
Well, Marcello, as always, thank you to you for devoting your time.
Thank you. Good stuff. That was really good.
That was really good, yes. And all the managers out there, best of luck. Catch you next week for Gameweek 25. Just 1 week closer to that all-important double where we'll need the spreadsheets more than ever at this stage. I'll give you that. But yeah, until next time, gang, all best. Cheers.